I've been asked so many times what it's like to live in a haunted house. And, you know, it's not easy to answer. And I often give examples of scary things that have happened to me in the house or creepy things that have happened to visitors or family. But when I set out to make A Savannah Haunting, I really wanted to work hard to capture the tone and the feel of what it's like to wake up, live in, and go to sleep in a house that you know is filled with some type of dark energy, dark spirits. And I think something that we accomplished. You know, we didn't want to do a movie that was just a bunch of boo scares with loud noises. We really wanted to capture the creeping dread that kind of overtakes your life when you're dealing with these supernatural forces.
When we started filming this, I was hoping that we wouldn't have any supernatural experiences on set. We had done a full cleansing of the house because the location has a history of bad, dark, scary, supernatural phenomenon. And we brought in a medium, we brought in paranormal investigators, even a voodoo priestess. We did an exorcism. We were hoping that everything would be fine before we started. And about week 1, we shot a scene where Rachel, the mom, starts walking up the stairs. She sees a ball bounce down. She goes up to investigate. And in the behind the scenes footage, we actually noticed that there was a strange fog above some of the crew in the kitchen. It was odd. I can't explain it. There's nothing that would really answer it in the rational world for what it is. So if you do want to see that footage, you can check it out in the full-length feature documentary.
I'm Jenna Shaw, and I play Rachel. So I told Alexis about some of the things that were happening, because once I heard other people were having some experiences, I think I felt more comfortable talking about them. And I just asked, are you gonna cleanse the place? Did you cleanse the place? Because all I know about is, you burn sage, and they said that they were bringing people in to do like a full home cleanse before we started shooting. In the script, it's bad. Like, what happens to this character is tragic. So, I don't want life to imitate art. And there have been days or instances, I guess, that it feels like it could be. So that's a bit unsettling.
Dean West, I'm playing Eric Rancourt, and Dean and Eric are very, very similar. There wasn't so much character work to do as much as just kind of putting in place the human beings that are my family. And the casting has been so great that literally the girl playing my wife, they're very similar. Both a little hard-headed and strong-hearted. And the girl playing my daughter has a lot of tendencies that I do. Sometimes it's not great realizing them. And then my son, I don't have a son, but I have a newborn, and they have nothing to do with each other, but he's fantastic. He's just hilarious and adorable. Nothing I can say will top how awesome this little guy is. But Eric's, again, a lot like me. He's just a pretty good guy, has a loving family, and he would do anything he can to make all of their lives better. So he, with some stress in their lives, he picks up and moves everyone from Los Angeles to Georgia. After reading the script, I really liked it. Obviously, I can't tell you all of that, but for different reasons. And then the flip in the script just rocked some quick chills. So I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this. It was easier being dragged with the harness than when I was having to scooch myself, because I just had to worry about the rope and like making this real. When I was doing this and having to scooch myself, it was like, okay, I gotta feel like someone's pulling and scooch at the same time. It was a sore next day from more the scooching than the actual pulling. House is amazing. Honestly, there's a few times that I had to just mark that. Was that set, or was that you? Did you already have that?
when I wrote the screenplay for Savannah Haunting, I could visualize every single scene in the script in my mind. And when we brought on Paul Marshall, our cinematographer, obviously Paul is an extraordinarily talented and experienced cinematographer, and he came on board with some really great ideas. And it was so much fun working with him and taking these ideas that I had, these ideas that he had, and kind of putting them together. And sometimes we went with his, sometimes we went with mine, and sometimes it was a kind of a combination of the two. But there are a few moments in the film that are literally exactly the way I pictured them when I wrote the script. One of those is the scene where we're looking at Rachel holding the little girl in the rocking chair in the upstairs bedroom. And we realize that we're looking at her in the mirror, and the camera does a slow turn around, revealing the mom's actually holding the burned doll. Now, I wrote that, I could clearly see it in my head. I knew how I wanted to look. What I didn't realize was just how difficult it would be to shoot that scene. Because obviously a camera can't look directly into a mirror because you'd see the camera. Another one of my favorite shots in the movie is when Rachel's sitting on the couch and Alice is in the background sitting on the other couch facing her. And the camera does a slow dolly into her face, to close up, pulls back, and Alice is sitting next to her on the couch. Well, where we were filming in my house, the space was too small of the dolly for our actress, Jalen, who plays Alice, to be able to get around the camera and the camera crew to run around and jump on the couch as the camera was doing its dolly in and out. So what she would do is she'd run towards the camera, and I was standing behind the camera on the mantle of the fireplace, and I would grab her and pick her up and jump her over the camera and the crew. And she had so much fun. And the hardest part of shooting that was getting her to stop smiling when she would sit down on the couch next to Rachel.
My name is Jalen. I am 7, and I am an actor, and I am Alice in Savannah Haunting. My favorite two people who are working on the movie with me is the 2 directors, Mark and Alexis.
Why are they so awesome?
Because they're basically the one who made up the movie. I was fake drowning, and I was just splashing a lot. There was like 5 people in the pool.
So you watch all the behind the scenes.
Yep.
You did the drowning scene.
Yeah.
What's another great memory on this set?
That I get to make new friends.
The actor who plays Andrew in the film, a wonderful young man named Nico Tarazzi, really fun to work with. Just charming, adorable, amazingly talented. He never missed a line during his entire shooting schedule. We looked at his self-tape that he submitted and thought it was great. We had a callback, and we called him and several other actors in for the role. And a lot of the other actors, they were really good, and they came with this big energy, but they had a lightness to them. And I see this a lot with kid actors, where they're used to kind of doing kid shows or commercials, and so they're just amped up. When Nico walked in, he was very down and withdrawn. He sat there, and his energy was inward. And he does the scene, and he just had this depth and darkness. It was amazing to watch. Nico does the audition, and then he just gets up and walks out. So we cast him, and he shows up on set, and the kid is just full of energy. He's telling fun stories. He's talking about wrestling from the 1980s. I mean, he's just a little ball of charm. And so about a week or two into filming, I asked him about the callback, and I asked him if he was, why he was so quiet and withdrawn. And he looks at me and he says, I was just in character. I was just blown away.
My character, so he's supposed to be like the kid, and he wants to play with the doll, but then after something happens, he just like, I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play with her. She's bad. She's bad now.
Tell me about some of the scenes you've done. What's been What's been fun on set that you've gotten to do?
The bloody nose scene.
Ooh, give me a whole story about that.
Well, you mean about like actually if I've ever gotten a bloody nose, or
No, I
just
guess
about?
Yeah, about that one. Yeah, about
Yeah.
the story.
So they did 2 scenes. One, they just did one where they put it like around my nostrils and then down around my lips. And then it shows the mom wiping it off. And then they do another one where they had to put it in my nose. And when I would be up like this, and then they said action, I would start doing down like that.
You got to go swimming. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, so there's a swimming scene?
Yeah, so what I would do is they would have water safety in the pool, and then they would have the stunt guy, and then I would have to go out into the pool, the middle of the pool. When they would tell me, I would start like moving my arms around this, splashing in the pool, going down under the water. I had to actually pretend like I was drowning. The mom and dad would come out, the dad jumped in, grabbed me, and we got out of the pool. Yeah, and we had to do that a few times. It was fun. When I wanted to become an actor, my dad kept saying no, but I would just keep bugging him, and eventually after like a few years of doing that, he eventually just said, okay, yeah. So the reason why I wanted to become an actor though is because I used to watch Indiana Jones a lot. I like that. Mark's been really nice. He's been helping me out every time I have a question. I think he's doing good.
I'm Tommy Rose, and I play Lilith. Lilith is a wild one. She always gets what she wants. She's kind of crazy, but kind of fun. Definitely, I would say Lilith is one of the most intense characters that I've played. I've been, telling them this personally, but they've been so great I have a lot of very intimate scenes in this film, and everyone has been so great with making sure that I'm comfortable. I mean, everybody will text me on the night before and be like, do you have everything you need? 10 different people, just making sure that I'm comfortable and I'm good and I'm safe. And, I think that makes such a big difference in, an actor's performance when you feel like everybody has your back. Yeah, speaking about, having my back, Mark has been, above and beyond. He texts me, anytime that I text him, he texts me back right away with making sure that I know what's going on. And, I've texted him back and been like, thank you so much. I can't, because, as an actor, when you feel like you're close with your director, it makes such a difference because, you're on set and you feel like you can be like, hey, Mark, what if I did this? And he's open to it, and he's fantastic. We shot the pool scene with Dean. So that was fun. It's so funny because we were actually talking about it on set, but the most awkward scenes, everybody always thinks oh, is that crazy to film? And you're always laughing in between takes. Nothing is ever as serious as it looks. Grew up loving Halloween. My little brother too. Both of us are just crazy about freaky and weird and abstract. So that kind of stuff is, a little bit it's never really been a scary thing for me. It's kind of been ooh, I don't get to do this in real life, but I get to do it in a movie, so it makes it exciting.
At the end of the movie, you see Lilith actually coming out of a hole in the ground. So I had my visual effects artist handle that. We didn't put a hole in a historic building, but so that's all handled on green screen. She comes out of the ground, which is the hole out of hell. And within there, that looks like a basement, and it's actually not. Savannah doesn't have a lot of basements because of flooding and water and rain. So that location is actually a freestanding building in the middle of a forest. And we kept referring to it as the castle, but it's called the Powder Magazine. And historically, this building had canisters of dynamite, and farmers used it to blow up trees. It wasn't a military use, it was actually for farmers. So you could see the round canister stains along on the ground, and they built it to be very structurally sound as a castle so that if something did blow up, it wouldn't hurt anyone nearby.
So when I was talking to Mark, I told him that one of the things I loved about the whole crew was that there's usually that one asshole. Can I say asshole? Great. There's usually that one asshole, and we don't have that asshole, which makes everything much easier. There's usually just the one that offsets everything. The only asshole we have is some situations that happen with the house that just make everyone a little on edge already, but there's no actual asshole in the crew. That's at least 5 assholes, so I'll leave it at that.
I feel so fortunate because we had an amazing team that came together to help make A Savannah Haunting. From my producing partner, Alexis Nelson, to the entire crew, the cast, so many local people who were in and around Savannah that gave us their locations, just opened up their homes to us. And so many folks really came together.